across multiple clouds on premises and at the edge with the tools and framework of their choice. So what is Stable Diffusion? It is the field of artificial intelligence, particularly in the development of deep learning models. There has been a growing interest in developing deep learning models. So Stable Diffusion-based models have been used in various AI applications, including natural language processing and speed recognition, and image and video processing. So what is Microsoft Azure, formerly known as Windows Azure? So Microsoft Azure is Microsoft's public cloud computing platform. It provides a broad range of cloud services, including computing, analytics, storage, and networking. Users can pick and choose from these services to develop and scale new applications or run existing application in the public cloud. We all know what a cloud is, right? Do we? So the Azure platform, okay. So the Azure platform aims to help businesses manage challenges and meet their organizational goals. It offers tools that support all industries, including e-commerce, finance, and a variety of Fortune 500 companies. And it's compatible with open source technologies. This gives users the flexibility to use their preferred tools and technologies. In addition, Azure offers 4 different forms of cloud computing: infrastructure as a service, that IaaS, platform as a service, that's PaaS, software as a service, that's SaaS, the one that everybody knows as SaaS, and serverless functions. So the prerequisites for deploying Stable Diffusion on Microsoft Azure: you need a Microsoft Azure account. You need computing requirements. Stable Diffusion requires significant processing power for optimal performance, preferably with a GPU instance. In cases where the cost of a GPU instance, that's graphic processing unit, GPU means graphic processing unit, is prohibitive, a CPU instance with higher processing capacity may serve as a viable alternative. Okay, so I would pass the mic to Osinachi Chukwuma for him to show us how to deploy Stable Diffusion on Microsoft Azure. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Tumini. I always mistake your name. Thank you, Tumini, for that introduction. Can you guys hear me properly?
Yeah, clearly.
Right. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen and just go over the demo of how we can deploy and run Stable Diffusion on Azure. So let me just get started. Surprisingly, I have not enabled screen sharing. Just a minute, I need to enable screen share. We need to join back, like leave the meeting and join back. So I'll just take a minute to do that.
All right. So guys, while we wait, let me just go over a little bit on what the pilot mentioned earlier. If this is your first time hearing about cloud computing, Microsoft Azure, could you signify? Anyone?
Sorry, I don't think I got your question.
Anyone? Okay. Let me just go on with that. When you talk about cloud computing, is basically using another person's computer that is somewhere else over the internet. That's you are remotely accessing another person's computer from where you are. You're not with the computer physically. The computer you are accessing, you're not with it physically where you are. So you're using it through another computer over the internet. So when you come into the cloud computing space, that's what we called, Tumini mentioned, there is IaaS, there is PaaS, there is SaaS. That's infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service. There is also public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud and multi-cloud. When you talk about public cloud, talk about Azure, you talk about AWS, talk about Google Cloud. That's everybody can use it, anybody can use it. You just come in, launch whatever service you want to launch. Once you are done, you turn it off and you go your way. So you can liken it to the way you use your public bus. So if you're in Lagos, the way you use Danfo. So once you get on the bus, Danfo, you make your payment, you go and sit on the seat. Once you get to your destination, you get off, and that is it. Then private cloud is much like it's your own. You're the one taking care of everything about it. So it's more like a private car. The way you use your private car, you can see it that way. Then software as a service. Okay. Our co-pilot is back. So let's suspend that and join him. Thank you, guys. Over to you, Osinachi.
Yeah, thank you for that. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible now.
All right,
You are seeing a calendar.
So, currently.
Currently WhatsApp.
I think your network is lagging.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm currently sharing GitHub.
Yes.
All right, cool. So, thank you once more for attending this session. So, basically, Stable Diffusion is an image generation / image processing model. It's a model that can convert text to speech. What am I saying? Text to speech. Sorry, text to image, image to text, and maybe generate a better resolution image from a lower resolution one. And you can interact it in several ways, like every AI model. You can use it from your command line. You can use it from a notebook, that's a Jupyter notebook, or you can use it from the web, right? And since it's actually a very big and complex model, it's not so easy to deploy it, especially on a cloud platform. And technically, you do need a GPU, but GPUs are not actually available anymore. So AI became rampant, and all the GPUs on the cloud were sold out by companies wanting to do AI stuff. Right, but you can still get an AMD GPU, which you can use to run Stable Diffusion, possibly. Right. So usually there are two companies that provide GPUs. There's NVIDIA and there's AMD. Right. NVIDIA has GPUs that are perceived as much more performant, unlike AMD, but both of them are still GPUs. So you need to install it on you need to have it on your virtual machine, on the virtual machine running your model, and also configure it. Right. So the very first step you'd want to do is to set up the GPU. After setting up the GPU, then you can go ahead to go to this repo, automatic 1111, Stable Diffusion Web UI. And over here, you can follow the instructions in the wiki. if you follow the instructions in the wiki, you'll be able to get it deployed. Right, but you can see the output we are hoping at the end, or in the end, this, right? So what we'll be doing is once we set up the virtual machine, we'll connect it to Visual Studio Code. We'll connect it to VS Code. This is just something random I'm doing. We'll connect it to VS Code via SSH. Then we'll be able to run it and view the web UI as if we're viewing it locally. Right. Just going to go. I won't go over all the steps because it actually takes a lot of time. But I'll be going over the connecting to VS Code here. Right. Let me just quickly open up. Okay. So this is the virtual machine I deployed yesterday, and it currently has a Stable Diffusion instance running, right? But if you're going to create one from scratch, you would have to have an Azure subscription. That's the first thing you need to have. And you can have an Azure subscription through Azure for Students. Or if you don't have Azure, if you can't access Azure for Students, you might consider joining the Student Ambassador Program. It gives you $150 credit every month. You can use to deploy virtual machines, web apps, databases, machine learning models, those sort of things, right? So we'll just go ahead to create a resource, very straightforward. Then we'll choose virtual machine, right? So I have a preference for Linux systems. So when you're creating a virtual machine, you either create a Windows virtual machine or a Linux virtual machine. A virtual machine is just like your normal computer, but on the cloud, right? So I have a preference for Linux systems, but you might have a preference for otherwise. For Windows, I guess. I usually use Ubuntu 22, but I think we'd have to use 20 this time. So you create an Ubuntu 20.04 virtual machine, and you configure it to use a GPU sized instance. You'll see that in a minute. It's having issues. Let me go from here. Is it my internet? Please confirm that you can still hear me.
Yes, can still hear you.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I was saying
Yeah, we
it.
can hear you.
I think I'm having issues with this portal. I'm just going to reload. There's an issue creating this virtual machine. Let me go manually. Where is that? Web storage, compute. Okay. Okay, finally loaded. All right, so like I said earlier, all there's hardly any GPUs left on Azure or instances because companies are in their need of these resources, right? But in the East US zone, I think in the East US and West US zones, you still have a few GPU machines left, right? So where you set this thing, hey, where you set this is here in the size. So if you see all the sizes, you can see. If you check all the sizes, you can see different types of virtual machines for different actions. For machine learning tasks, you would want to go with the N series machines. Okay, it's not actually here. Let me go back and change the zone. East US. Let me choose East US too. Okay. So they said this side is not available in zone 1, but 2 and 3 are available. So you just, if you select zone 2, would see the size and we'll see the price that goes with it. It's 170 per month, but you can actually reduce the price that it can go for. If you reduce it to something like say you can use half of that if your virtual machine is not on all the time. So say you want to just do some work and use it, so you just turn it on, do your work, turn it back off so that it doesn't take a lot of money, right? So if we go back to see our sizes, like I said, it's the N series machines. There was supposed to be like more GPU types machines here, but like I said, they're no longer available. So just select what is available. This is an AMD machine, and go over the other processes of creating a virtual machine. So let's say the name of the machine is machine learning VM, right? We'll set the name of the machine. The name of the machine is like the name of your computer. We'll set the image. The image is the operating system that will be installed on it. And what else have we set? We've set the type of machine it's going to be. It's going to be a GPU machine. And what else? So authentication type, we're choosing SSH authentication because it's easier to connect to virtual machines using SSH from your computer rather than using passwords. It's easier, it's better, it's cleaner, and it's more developer friendly, I guess. So username, you can leave it as the default username. SSH public key. So it's easier if we are able to use our existing public key on our machine. So this is the Mac computer, right? But it's same as other types of system on Linux, on Windows WSL, not on normal Windows, please. Right. So if you're using Windows, you can use WSL. You can also use its bash, right? So if you do want to create an SSH key, SSH is like it's like a key pair thing, right? If you did a little bit of reading on crypto, you must have heard of public and private key. So it's similar. It's similar here. You have your private key locally, which you never share, and you give your public key out. So other systems can use your public key to communicate to you. So your computer verifies that the public key that they have is same as the one you have and allows the communication, that kind of thing. I think the private key can be created from the public key, or how is it? Can someone on the call remind me which one is created from the other? So aside that, we can just get the existing public key, ssh idrsa.pub. So this is my public key, and I just add it to the virtual machine. And once added, once added, I'll be able to connect to this machine from my terminal. So next, this is another place where you can further reduce your costs. Instead of choosing premium SSD, you can choose standard, because premium SSD is best for production and performance sensitive workloads. It's like production stuff, but this stuff is just something we're doing locally, or we're doing just to deploy something. You can even do this one, but you can just choose standard instead. Okay. Networking, a lot of all these other ones, we can just leave the default values. Right, so since we're connecting via SSH, we'll have port 22 open to the public. Let me just go straight to review and create. So you can see pricing, hourly pricing, it's like almost 3 cents per hour, so less than $1 per hour. So if you know what you're doing, you can actually save a lot of costs. You don't waste your credits, right? Okay, so we can just go ahead to create. Yeah. And once it's created, we can go into the machine, then we can start the deployment process for Stable Diffusion. So the deployment is in progress. So while it's here to complete, we can just go over the repo. Right. So there are several ways you can use this repo. I think there's a Docker deployment option. Stable Diffusion, Docker. So I think several people online have tried to Dockerize it. So if you ever find problems, maybe you're trying to deploy your own and you ever run into problems, you might just go ahead and use the Docker image, directly, right?
I think,
we made.
sorry, someone is
Mhm.
saying if you could switch to light screen mode in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, that actually makes sense. I thought developers are afraid of light screen. Okay.
I think
That's
you don't have
fine.
a lot of them here.
Yeah, the light screen is better for screen sharing. And I think I was meant to increase my zoom so that I can see things better. Right. So even if you don't go through the whole process of trying to deploy Stable Diffusion, you can always use it from Hugging Face. Right. So though you need to have credits. Right. So I think if you're willing to pay, maybe when you exhaust your credits on Hugging Face, you can do that, or you might follow the process of creating creating 20 accounts and switching between those accounts. Anyhow you want to do it. Yeah, there are always workarounds to everything. So I think if we just search Stable Diffusion here, you should be able to see it and even use it here. Right. So this is a hosted API reference. So someone should suggest something we should generate. someone in the chat just suggest something we can generate. Kind of see the call.
Okay. What about a crocodile flying? Is that weird?
That's too simple now. Give more context. Give more prompts. A crocodile flying with something in the background, in the style of Leonardo da Vinci, something like that.
Okay, someone said a chicken in a karate dojo.
A chicken in a karate what?
Dojo.
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 Okay, let's see what the model gives us. So we'll compare the speed of their own output to what we have, because ours might actually take time. That's neat. But this chicken doesn't look like it's going to beat me anytime soon. So theirs took 6 seconds because they had it on GPU. And ours might take up to 3 minutes. We're running on CPU. Okay, let's check our model. Model is complete, so we can just go to deployment. And I'm going to switch to light mode here too, so that don't strain your eyes. Okay. How did I even get here? Okay. All right. So this is the virtual machine we just deployed. We did make a mistake though. I didn't change the size of the disk. So like every physical machine, a virtual machine has the OS and the disk. The OS technically runs on the disk, although I'm not sure how they do it on the cloud. But I think currently our disk is 30 gig, which will not be enough. So this is the disk we have currently. So just go to size and performance, and yeah, currently it's 32 gig, which would definitely not be enough. So let's just go take it up a notch to 256, and we can even choose a custom disk size. Nice. So it's going to take a few minutes. Okay. All right, the disk has been updated, so we can go ahead to resume virtual machine. I'm going to restart it. Yeah. All right, while the VM is restarting, I'm just going to go to VS Code let's go to VS Code to set up. What am I setting up? Set up the SSH VS Code server connection. Right, so this is something relatively new. So if you have a virtual machine on the cloud, or you have a Docker container on the cloud that you can SSH into, you can actually view it on VS Code. So if you've seen code spaces, if you've seen VS Code spaces, it's like a very similar idea. You'd basically be connecting to a Docker container and have VS Code visualize it. So instead of using something called RDP, remote desktop protocol, which is very clunky and might be slow-ish, you can just use VS Code and do your development, do your deployment, see your files, easily manipulate stuff, right? So you feel more like you feel more productive and stuff. You don't have to be Linux fanboy that just keeps using their terminal. So, okay, where are we? Our virtual machine is running. So we can actually SSH into this machine now. I'm just going to do that. If we do SSH Azure user, which is the user that we had at the IP address, we should see this problem. Let me increase this. Everything so that it's clear. So SSH Azure user, we accept, and it adds the IP address to our known host. So we're literally inside the virtual machine right now. So the name of the machine I chose was Machine Learning VM, and the user is Azure user. So that's why it's like this. Can check our disk size. So we have 256 gig available, blah, blah, blah. And okay, so do we have Git? Yeah, it's Linux, so we have Git by default, which is beautiful. So we can go ahead to clone our stuff. It's clone this the stable diffusion API. So it's just going to clone and oh, I think I can do code dots. Can I? Okay, I can't. Let me do that from here. I'm just going to type the same SSH command. Take note of this. Just type the same SSH command and we'll be able to open this on VS Code. So we can set the name of this as my private key is showing. Interesting. I have to change this. SS.
Oh.
Got it. Machine.
Yeah.
Please do not hack into my VM. Oh, it's not even my VM. So
Nobody do that.
All right. Okay. So connect to host. So I just gave this host a name, so we can just literally click. This thing is blocking my view. It's really blocking my view. Just extend. Okay. All right. So just select Linux as the OS and see it along. So it's going to take a few seconds to initialize VS Code server on the server. Hopefully it doesn't fail again. I think this will keep failing because I had this problem in my previous Mac. I'm just going to connect from my Linux. So if we can't do that from here, I'm going to switch to my Linux. But we can actually do the git clone here on the terminal before I switch. Oh, I already did that. So we cd into Stable Diffusion, API. If you're new to all this Linux stuff, you can take a crash course. It's actually very cool if you know how to use those commands. So we'll just go to the wiki and I don't know. So install and run on AMD GPUs, right? So we've done this step already. We've cloned. I think we need to have Python 3.10. Can literally do that with sudo app. So Python, Python, I think Python 3.10. Mm, okay, I think I'm just going to switch now. Okay, so I'm switching to the other computer. But does anybody have any problem with or any confusion on what I've done so far, or any place you'd like me to clarify? Just inform me, so I'll just go over it while I connect from here.
Dominion is raising up his hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, since you're using SSH for your authentication, does that not mean that if you change your system, you will not be able to access your cloud, your stuff on the cloud?
Yeah, it actually means that. But if you have access to your cloud, you can add another SSH host. Do you understand?
Okay, it
That's
makes
can
sense now.
yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. Here. I can just use this one as a screen share. I'll stop sharing from here. And I'll share from here. Okay. All right, I'm here. So where were we? Let me go back to Azure portal. I was using this account. Please don't mind I'm using another person's account. My student ambassador days are coming to an end, so they would delete my stuff anytime soon. So I didn't want to run into problems. But everybody that's still in the program, you guys are actually going to enjoy a lot. I'm going to miss the 150 credits. It was very awesome. Okay. So the machine is running. And since we just created this machine now, it means we need to add this. We need to add this SSH here, right? How did I do that? I did it from here. Okay, I remember where I did it from. So Dominion, the question you asked, we're going to literally do it now. So you want to say you want to connect from another computer, you can just come here, add SSH public key. In this reset password menu, so we can use existing public key. Let me just pull up my terminal and add SSH ID rsa.org. So this is my public key, copy it, add it here, and update. So it's going to do some configuration and add another user. I think we'll have the same users. Okay, I think that's it. So let me go here. Copy the IP. So we can SSH into it now. Or I can go directly from VS Code. So to connect current window to host, configure SSH first. So this is the VM I used yesterday. I'm just going to add this other one. Host machine VM. Host name is this, and the user essential user. Right. So now that we've configured it, we can connect to host and click on it, and we should be able to go into it. Yeah, sounds continue. All right, so we're in. We're mostly in. All right, we're there. So if we do ls, you see the repo we cloned a few minutes ago. What am I doing? So we can just use the code command to open it up. And now that it's open, you can trust the authors. So I guess we have everything we need. Can now continue from the wiki and we can continue from the wiki and load these instructions. Hopefully it doesn't fail because I'm doing this on live. So what was that thing about installing Python 3.10? Git clone. So we need to activate a VM, a virtual environment. I think it does need Python 3.10. Okay, let's just try the current Python. Let me install it. So this VF command I just ran creates a virtual environment. So we can just activate it using source VF being activate. So now with the environment activated, we can install our requirements. Online. Oh, I don't think we even needed to do that. We just needed to run this web UI.sh command. Well, this is going to be a long process. Let me just use the one I did yesterday so I can see it running and we'll wrap up. Okay. So this was the VM I used yesterday. It's already running, so we can connect current Windows host to open another. So I think this was its GPU VM. Then how did I even run it? I think it's somewhere around here. Okay, and let me just check the commands. Yeah, I have the last command I ran. If I do that, copy this command. Okay. So just wait a few seconds for this to come up. Not that it matters though, but to fulfill all righteousness. So once you've installed all the dependencies, like it's happening here, right? You should be able to run this command web UI.sh precision full. I mean, I just have this command because that's what worked. I can actually share it on the call in case you need it. Right. I think it's coming up and it's automatically opened my local address, and this is what we have. So I think I forgot the name of this environment. I think it's Gradle. Or Gradio. Jesus. Anyway, it doesn't matter right now. So we actually have it up and running here. Right. So someone should suggest a prompt we can try. Hopefully it doesn't waste a lot of time to run. Can someone suggest a prompt?
Someone shared a prompt earlier. A fish hunting in a forest.
That should be fun. A fish hunting in a forest. Right. So this is like the most very basic thing we can do. There are a lot of other things you can do. You can, I think, just play around with this when you have the opportunity. Right. If possible, I could expose these ports to the internet, right, under that IP address, so you can even try it on your own. But I think it's just faster if you do it on Hugging Face. Right, so it's going to take. It says 11 minutes here, but the time reduces with time. Right, it just reduces and gets smaller. Yeah, the name of this environment that Stable Diffusion is running on is Gradio. I don't know why it's not named, but you can see the same icon here and here. Can I even check images? Right. So I've been just a personal story from my own end. I've been trying to get into the AI space for the longest time, but I found out that training, going about finding the data and training the models was not my thing. So I think I prefer the part of just using the models and doing cool stuff with it. So being the engineer in the ML space instead of being the data scientist. So you can just get models from people that have trained them, can set them up and make it publicly accessible. So things like ChatGPT, this Gradio, all sorts of things. They require user interfaces. They require user experience. So you can do a lot of work in the ML space without even doing the main ML. I beg, who they clap? I beg, I know be anybody. All right, I think we've done most of what we plan to achieve in this call. We've been able to create a virtual machine, be able to run it, install the dependencies and run it locally. So hopefully we see our fish very soon hunting in the forest. Um, okay. So you can see currently the model is showing a very blurred image, and it gets better as it processes more. I think that's how diffusion models work. It starts with noise, and it tries to go from that noisy image to a clearer image. And yeah, so that's 60%. Apparently, Gradio can actually run in notebooks. I think there's a Google Colab notebook. Pretty cool.
Let me know you have a question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, since you have this model on your own machine, like that means you can prompt any type of prompt. Like, if you're using something like maybe DAL-E now or maybe Stable Diffusion from Hugging Face, there are prompts that will be like that will be stopped. That kind of thing. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get where you're
So there are no
coming from, but
violations. There's no limitations to this your model. If you have your
but,
personal model.
but no, unfortunately, those limitations are still there. Oh, Hugging Face is. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Stable Diffusion is just one of the few open source machine learning models, right? And since it's open source and they know that anybody can run it, they'll still have the same restrictions that they have on the hosted version. It doesn't make any sense if they don't make it restricted, then anybody can now run it and now create disturbing images. Right, so it's still the same restrictions. Even Llama 2. So Llama 2 is like, what's the name of this thing again? ChatGPT. It's like GPT-3, right? Hey, this thing did not give us anything that makes sense. All right, let me just finish what I was saying. So Llama 2 is like GPT-3. So Llama 2 has those restrictions because it's open source, right? Those restrictions exist for a reason, although I think they overdo it. But you won't want to be learning how to create a hydrogen bomb in your basement. All right, so let's see the image it gave us. A fish hunting in a forest gave us an image of a hunter. I don't even see a fish. This is sad. This prompt is not creative enough, I guess, or Stable Diffusion is not creative enough. Either of them. But yeah, you can actually play around and see the type of prompts that will give stunning images on your own. I don't think I'm the prompting guy, but you can do that. So there are a lot of configurations you can do. You can put seed. You can put the width and the height of the generated image. A list of other things. Just play around when you have the chance. clear how many other chance and try different things. Like those guys, those corridor crew guys were able to, what did they do again? They were able to take a video and apply the style of a fantasy anime to it. So I don't know, there are different things you can do. So I think that's it for me. Any questions, you can come on board. Just over to you, David. Can you just take over from here?
All right. Thank you very much, Osinachi, for that wonderful demo. This is not my first time using generative AI models, but this is the first time I'm hearing of Stable Diffusion as a text-to-image generator. So you guys have heard it. I'll now hand over to the pilots to take us where you want to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Osinachi, for the presentation and the guide. Okay, so I want to go back to what Osinachi said before on how to deploy Stable Diffusion on Microsoft Azure. So one of the first steps he mentioned was to open Stable Diffusion API on Azure Marketplace. On Azure Marketplace, here's API there. And then step 2 was to click on the Get It Now button. Step 3 was to select a region, select a resource group for your virtual machine. Then you select a region where you want to launch the virtual machine. So he also talked about changing the OS disk type, and then selecting the default networking configuration. The default networking configuration comes with port 22 for SSH, 3389 for RDP, and 80 for HTTP exposed. So for step 7, a summary page displays when the virtual machine is successfully created. Then you click on go to the resource link to go to the resource page to open an overview page of the virtual machine. Step 8, Stable Diffusion GUI. You access it through the browser. You copy the public IP of the VM into the browser and hit enter. So it said, please use HTTP and not HTTPS in the URL when accessing the automatic 111 interface in GUI. And yeah, one of the two he mentioned that I did not mention from the beginning was automatic 111 web interface. He actually made use of it during the deployment process. So I want to talk about automatic 111. So automatic 1111 is actually a de facto GUI and browser-based interface for utilizing Stable Diffusion capabilities. Sorry. So the web interface is very intuitive and easy to use for beginner level users. At the same time, has a lot of advanced features to be used by professional level users. Some of the key features include text to image and image to image processing. The extension-based design allows an ecosystem of plug-and-play extensions to add new functionalities. Lots of other features of automatic 1111 include ink painting, color sketch, and prompt metrics, to name a few. So I also want to go back to what Microsoft Azure is, for those that did not join us from the beginning. So Microsoft Azure was like the main platform they used to deploy Stable Diffusion during the session we had with Osinachi. So Microsoft Azure is a Microsoft public cloud computing platform. It provides a broad range of cloud services, including computing and analytics, storage and networking. It's just like Amazon, AWS, and Google Cloud. So, but this one is owned by Microsoft. So users can pick and choose from these services to develop and scale new applications or run existing applications in the public cloud. So Azure platform, Microsoft Azure aims to help businesses manage challenges and meet their organizational goals. It offers tools that support all industries, including e-commerce, finance, and a variety of Fortune 500 companies. And it's compatible with open source technology. So I also talked about the prerequisites for deploying Stable Diffusion on Microsoft Azure, which is a Microsoft account. To get a Microsoft Azure account, you can register, but when you're a student ambassador, you get, I think, $150, I think, monthly. So Microsoft Azure is not actually free, but being a student ambassador, you can actually have access to it for free. I think they give like $150 monthly for Microsoft Azure with your student account. So the computing requirements for Microsoft Azure to run Stable Diffusion on it. Stable Diffusion requires significant processing power for optimal performance, preferably with a GPU instance in cases where the cost of a GPU instance is prohibitive. A CPU instance with higher processing capacity may serve as a viable alternative. So you can use a CPU with about like 28 gig memory, or a CPU, that's a GPU with 28 gig memory, or a CPU with 16 gig RAM. So this is the end of our meeting. So I want to go to David. Please, can you help us close the meeting? Thank you.
All right. Before we start landing, because we've been on this flight for about 1 hour 28 minutes now, and I believe we enjoyed the flight so far. So if you have a question, you have a comment, this is the time for you to do that. You can raise up your hand and I will call you in before we do the landing. Anyone? So I'm just going to count from 5 to 1 and then we land. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So no questions, no comments. Thank you guys for coming on board to learn about how to deploy Stable Diffusion on Microsoft Azure. Thank you, Osinachi. Thank you, Tumini. See you guys next time. So we hope to
Thank you so much.
have you join us in our subsequent events. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you guys, and see you when I see you.
Thank you everyone
Bye,
for
everyone.
attending the meeting. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Bye.